folks, Stuart here from the Four Crows Bushcraft and Primitive Living Skills. Welcome to normal videos. I thought what today we'd do is discuss containers. I'm actually a member of several forums on Facebook as well as the internet, and I posted up a photograph of a container that I'd made. And so I thought we'd just maybe do a how-to tutorial, and I thought I'd run through, before we make a start on that, run through the containers themselves and show you the one that I'm, as I say, going to make. But so containers, well, we all know about birch bark containers, okay? In many books written tell you about birch bark, but in the UK we haven't really got the birch bark thick enough to produce containers. So here's one that I've made, a small container, just give you a close-up, okay, which is birch bark that is procured from in the UK. Well, I'm in Scotland in the borders, so I just want to show you that it's a fairly thin material to work with, and this is actually a couple of wrappings of the birch bark, so it's no great for containers, for strength, compared to which I've got a container here which was made from birch bark that came from Finland. Now I hope you can see the difference in the thickness of that birch bark, and that's because birch likes cold climates, and Finland obviously is a lot colder than the Scottish borders, so you can see much more rigid, good strong containers. But trying to get this material in Scotland is hard to come by because of our temperate climate. So it got me thinking, what can we use if we haven't got birch bark? What could we use that Mother Nature provides in the UK? So what I've got is members of the umbellifer family, which is a natural tube. When we talk about umbellifers, we're talking about members of the carrot family, parsley family, whatever you want to know them by. But this is a piece of wood angelica, which is dyed bark. It's a good strong container, so that you can make out of members of the umbellifer family. But a word of warning here, you know, members of the umbellifer family, there are some highly poisonous varieties, and a word of caution here is this umbellifer stalk here is dead, dry, giant hogweed. Now this stuff in its green state, while it's still alive, is something not to be messed with, because the sap that's contained within the green stalk, flower, leaves, if it lands on your skin, breaks down your UV protection from sunlight, and it can flare up in summertime and leave you very nasty blisters. Okay, so these plants have got to be treated with a lot of respect. But if you can't get them in a dead state, I know a lot of councils cut giant hogweed down because as a pest. It was introduced as an ornamental in the UK. But if you can't get it, I've found ones out in the wild where I'll leave them really in the late winter time, and then you find you sometimes get lucky and find a nice stalk that is no perished too far, it's still got rigidity and strength to turn into a container. So here's the container that I showed on a Facebook forum, and it's basically an umbellifer stalk with a base put in the bottom and a lid which is made a little handle there made out of nettle fibre, and the lid, which is by the looks of it, it is larch, which is a nice soft material, okay, to work with. And to give it extra strength, underneath this bark here, where I've put in the base, I've inserted pins, small wooden pins, and then wrapped it with lime bark, which is Tilia species, or basswood to Native Americans friends. This also, putting the binding on the outside gives it that extra strength needed for when you put the lid in, because what tends to happen is with these stalks is they tend to split. If you push something in, they're easily split out to the side, down the side. So you need a little reinforcement top and bottom, and for your base and your lid, and that'll stop this container from splitting. Okay, so what if you can't find wood angelica, or if you're in the garden, maybe if you're a gardener, you've got fennel. Fennel, I've got this one here. This came from somebody's garden, so you can see this is a fennel. It's got the nodes good and strong. Dried it out. This was cut when it was green. I've left it for I think maybe a year or so now, and so it's dried well out, and it's good, robust piece of material. So as I say, we've just be careful, as I say, when you're especially with the hogweed, and also you know that you've got hemlock, which grows quite large as well, gives you a good stalk, but again it's something that I wouldn't personally work with because of the poisons in there. You know, if you've got a cut in your hand or anything like that, I wouldn't like to mess around with these things. So for safe bets, I would go for something like an angelica. You're not going to get this sort of size of stalk. You're possibly going to get this. This is an angelica. I found it in the woods, and this is an angelica, and then we're going down to even smaller containers. And what you can sometimes do is, as you can see that on this one, it's got the node, where this is where the leaves come off. It's a sheath that covers the stalk, and the leaf comes off. Gives you a natural, like I said in this piece, gives you a natural base, but that's fairly flimsy in there, so you need to reinforce it by putting in a wooden stopper, basically. So you can see in this one that I've got the stopper in the bottom, which is just held in place by pressure, and then I've got a carved lid, small carved lid, and to give it the rigidity and strength on the top, I've got a piece of spruce root bound round and tied in a knot. Okay, simple as that. So you can make a container for what nature provides. So we'll crack on and make the container itself, and I'll just show you the tools that I'm using are very basic. I'm not using any. I know I'm in my shed today, the man cave, but all I'm going to be using is a knife, folding saw, which we all normally carry as bushcrafters anyway in the wood, and I've got a small knife as well, just for fine carving if I need to for the lids, which we'll get on with. So I'll get back to you in a second once I've got my materials prepared, cut and ready, and we'll take it from there. Okay, see you in 5. So the container itself, what I've done is I've taken my folding saw and I've cut a piece of stock. So here's my tube for a container. So what you have to do when you're using your folding saw and this stuff, it's very brittle, is take your time, be gentle with it when you're sawing it, and you'll get a nice size tube. So you can make these as big or as small as you want. So this is the one that I've chosen just now. So that's my tube already done. So it's just a case of, I'll move this out of the way, a case of making a lid in the base. So let's talk about the lid in the base. As I've shown you, said before about using softwoods work better when you come to put popping the pins in. So you use a hardwood for the pins and a softwood for your lid and base. So what I'm going to use today is a piece of lime wood, because it's easy to carve, good beginner's wood to work with, and it'll take the pins when I drive them in to the container. So I'm going to cut this next to get my base and lid, and I'll get back to you once I've done that. Okay. Okay then, so I've got a lid in the base. I'm going to do a bit of carving with a knife. I've also got my lime bark at the back here, I don't know if you see that, and we'll make the container exactly like this one here. Okay, so we've got a dead, dry nettle stalk which we'll process for the cord for the lid. So ideally, when I was talking about softwood as well for the base, but for the pins, but also for when you want to make a lid to drill a hole in the centre, you would need a softwood. You can see here that the piece of lime that I have just in here has got, it should have a nice soft core which I can use my knife to drill a hole through for a cordage to go into there, okay, to make your stopper. Okay, so what I'll do is I'm going to make the base first before I do the lid, and I'll leave the camera running and you can see what I'm doing. So first off, I'm just going to measure, because I want the base to sit inside the bottom like so, or if you so choose you could carve the bottom so it's a nice neat finish like we do on the birch bark container. So it's entirely up to yourself how you go about this. There's many ways of doing it, this is just but one. So I'm just going to measure up my base cap, and I'm going to start whittling the sides off the cap to fit inside the tube. So we'll have to take our time with this, because if we rush it you end up making this too small, you're going to have to cut another piece of wood. Okay, so I'll carry on doing this and we'll get back to you. So now, I know some people are going to cringe when I do this using battening my knife, but if you're out in the woods and that's all you've got, then this you have to make do and mend. The damage of the handle, I can always refit another handle out in the woods, it's no problem. That's what bushcraft teaches us. It's about make do and mend. So as you can see, I'm just taking shavings off the edge to get around, so you can see, and then I'll just keep going back to my piece, measuring it up, see where this best fits. You can see there's a, because it's a natural thing in from nature, you're not going to have a perfect circle. So you can see that this one's quite flat in this spot here, not perfectly round, so I'm matching up my piece of wood just to keep on measuring. That's okay there. Yep, this is quite a bit, needs to come off the top. So as I say, it's best to take your time for this to get a good fit. Because we're making out in this in the woods, we've got all the time in the world, so there's no hurry. And you can see you're starting to get into the round of the wood just by taking small pieces off at a time. Just need to take a little more off. So what I'm going to do now is, rather than use the batten, I'm going to use a carving technique. So what just for safety, my thumb is not on over the piece like so, so it can drive in my thumb. We've talked about this before, so I'm making sure my thumb is well placed into the centre, so there's a nice safe follow through when I do that, rather than my thumb being here and then catching the thumb. A nice safe follow through. So I'm taking all the flat edges and make them into a nice round circular shape to fit the base. So this is going to take me a wee bit of time. You're not going to sit and watch me just whittling away with a knife. So I'll carry on doing this, and then once I've got this done, we'll get onto the lid. Okay. So again, I'll see you in 5 minutes. That's the end I'm working on, and as you can see, I've now got a base which will fit. So what I'm going to do is be gentle. I'm going to use my knife and tap this in. So you want a fairly tight fit. We don't want it too tight that it's going to split the stock, the umbilical stock. So just take my time with it. So there we go. Base fitted. Quite straightforward. Not difficult. So what I could do, that's quite a tight fit on there. I could put pins. I'll show you how to do that now, to get the base, so you can see we've standing fine. So what we need is a piece of hardwood which I've got here. This is hawthorn, I think. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off a large piece and to make a pin. So what I'm going to do, I'll split this down using my knife. Sorry about the banging. So get that piece off. I think what I'll do is split that again. So you can see I've taken a small slither, I hope you can see that, a small slither of wood, and I'll just shape that with my knife. Be careful of your fingers obviously. So I'm just, let's see, carving this. I'll carry on carving this and I'll get back in a second, okay? Cheers. So, we're using the hardwood piece of hawthorn, like I said, to make a small pin. So as you can see, what I've already done is I've driven 2 pins, so I'm going to put 3 in all together so you can see the 2 of them there. Yeah, so this is the last one. Just going to pop that into there. Sometimes what also helps as well is to knock the base bark out and make little pilot holes, just so these get a grip, and then as you're putting them in. So I'll knock this last one in, take a piece of wood. Oops. So there you can see the 3 pins in place. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut them clean with a knife, so nice and flush. Okay, so just bear with me when I do this. So I'm going to take a small carving knife to cut these clean. So there we go. What I've done now is I've taken the pins and I've sliced them clean, so they're flush with the bark. I don't know if you can get a close up of that. I've got one there. Just get that to focus. There you go. You can just see that one there, right there. So cut clean. There's the other one, and the other one is here. Okay, so that's the base held in place. Quite simple, straightforward. So we've now got a container with a base in it. So what I'm going to do next is make the lid. So again, we'll go back to the knife and shear it off the sides to make it fit the top, and we'll take it for there. So I'll just start taking pieces off here again. So we'll see we don't. This is just roughing it just now to take off the excess wood. Try to keep it in the round. Looking at our top to see how much needs to come off. It's quite a bit, so see, I'll carry on doing this and we'll get back to you again. Okay, that's it. Same procedure. Okay. So we've taken the bulk off the lid. Just getting its final small shavings to make a snug fit. There she goes. So you can see the lid wants to pop in, but I don't want to shove it all the way in because then I'll not be able to pull it back out, because we've already fixed the base. So what I'm going to do next is, now that I've got that done, I'm going to take our nettle, strip the fibres off it, and soak the limewood bark to make it more pliable to work with for our wrappings. Say the nettle will become our handle, and I'm also now going to drill a hole through the centre. I'm not going to use the drill, I'm going to use my knife. And so what I'll do is, tip for you here is that when you're drilling holes in wood, if you drill from one side and then turn it over and do the same from the other. Because if you drill all the way through, obviously using your knife, you'll have a great big hole on one side and a tiny little hole on the other. So if you drill from both sides all the way through. So what I'm going to do next is, as I say, get some water to soak the bark, get some cordage off, and we'll carry on. So I'll get back to you in 2 seconds. Okay, cheers. So hello again. Here we have our bark soaking our inner bark of the lime, tilia, basswood, for anybody that's watching from the States. So what I've got here for cordage for a lid, which is what I'm going to do next, is a dead nettle stalk, and this is the beginning of December. So I picked these. I've had these for a year or so now, but they're best to pick them, as I say, in winter time, once the leaves have all died back. But you have to get them before they perish altogether, and the cord that you want deteriorates too much. So this stalk here I'm going to use. So with nettles, as you probably can see, there's a natural groove in them. So I'm just going to use my thumbnail to, I'll lift this up, sorry, I'll stand up, use my thumbnail to split it open. So you can see against the split, and when you get to the nodes on the nettle, just open it up all the way down. Sorry about the lighting in here, folks. I'll try and get a better light for you. There we go. So splitting it open all the way down. Okay, the full length of the nettle. We're not going to need a great deal of cordage, but you've seen me how to make cordage in other videos, but I just wanted to show this, what you need to take out of the nettle, which is the inner core. You've probably seen other guys doing it in videos, Ray Mears, so on and so forth, doing it using green nettles. Well, this is actually, let's say, a dead stalk nettle. Picked them just at the right time of the year, so you get superior cordage. So there, I've split it all the way down. Now I'm going to do is just take it and break it in the centre, and over my finger I'll turn this way so you can see it. I'll start to work the inner core off, separate it from, you can see this is the part that I want. The woody inner stalk is to be discarded. So the best way to do this is if you take it and break it every inch or so, 2 inches, break the inner core to get it to your material, and by pulling it like so, take that way. As you can see, it's just pulling it and all the way down till it meets the other side, and it's these fine filaments, I don't know if you can see them, those fine filaments, that's what makes your quality cordage. So I'll carry on doing this, breaking them out. So you want to retain as much of those fine fibres as you possibly can, but take out the pithy stalk. So I'll carry on doing this, and we'll get back to you when we're ready to make our cordage handle. Okay, see you soon. So now we've got our fibre taken from the nettle. You can see it's in its strands. What I want to do now is take the outer chaff off. So what I do with this is, I'll not get into detail on how to make a cordage, because if you watch my other videos you'll see me how to make cordage, but I want to take that outer chaff on the outside. So what I do is work your fingers like you would a bicycle pedals, like twisting it, work it back and forwards. And if you can see that, the light's not very close, we're losing light here. So carry that on, doing that all the way down, so you get take all that outer bark off, plus this breaks up the fibres even more, allowing you to get a better cordage, especially where the nodes where the leaves were attached. You can see that it comes off, you end up with all that fine fibrous materials in here. So we're taking all that rubbish off that we don't want, so we want a nice, making sure that you've got any woody parts like this come out, and we're just all the way down doing this, like pedal, like you would on a push bike, but using your fingers. So you can see the difference from raw fibre to the fluffed up, roughed up fibres compared to the unroughed. So we walk all the way down doing that, and this just, as I say, takes the outer chaff off, and it allows you to have a better looking cordage for your handle, for your container. So I'll work my way down, especially at the nodes. You want all that chaff taken off, and as I say, we've got our bark in the background there, the line bark soaking, ready for the next step. So I'm going to make this quick piece of cordage up, and this will become our handle for the container. So okay, I'm going to start my cord, and you've seen other people talking about staggering when they make the cord for adding in. I'm not going to be adding in anything this, so I'm going to make it even ends. Okay, so twist that up till it kinks. There we go. Oops. That's what I want. as I say, if you subscribe to my other videos, you will see that I have covered cordage before. Quite a, once you learn it, it's quite a straightforward process. So I'll carry on twisting this up. Don't want to keep you too long because this video will end up into 3 or 4 hours long. If I do that, but you can see the cord begin to made. Okay, so I'll carry on and I'll get back to you in a second. Cheers. So we've made our small thin length of cord. I've put a small knot in the end to hold it in place. I'm just going to trim the end using a knife, like so. So clean bit of cord. You could make it tidier by if you had to run it through a flame to get all the loose, hairy parts to make it nice and neat. But then I could use it as so for a handle like that, make a loop and to put it in, but it's quite large. So what I'm going to do, I've did this deliberately, I'm going to do, this is what they call the S twist. Now I'm going to do the Z twist, which is to, this doubles your cordage up, it makes it thicker. So we've twisted it one way, so what I'm going to do now is carry it again in the middle, bend it over so it's have it halved, and then I'm going to twist it again. And if I don't know if you can make this out, but if I twist it, it creates a thicker cord. So it becomes thus a thicker cord. Okay, so I'll carry on doing that. So now you see I have a doubled up piece of cord, so it shortened it, but when I fold it over, pop it through the handle, we'll have a thicker piece of cord. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is, now I've got that made up, is I will go on to make the hole in the handle. And what we do for that, as I said, is use your knife, look for the centre, mark a hole, and because I'm using lime, it's fairly easy to drill through that soft core. So as I say, you start on one side, like so, and if you can see me just doing that, twisting the knife, so I get all the way through, sorry, till I get halfway through. So what I then have to do is roughly measure it up to the other side in the hope that you meet in the middle. Okay, so just roughly measure it up. I think that should be about there. Just be careful of your hand that you don't cap the end and push too hard and then go straight through the piece and into your hand. So grab it like so, twist. Now you could use a drill piece for this, but in nature, as I say, if you're out in the woods and you're needing a container, you're not going to have that luxury of having a drill. So I'm trying to do this in such a way that you can see it can be done just using a knife. Yeah, I can see the knife coming through the other side there. So we'll just take our time creating the hole, because we don't want to put too much pressure on it, because to create a split in the wood so it splits out at one side. And then that would be your work, all for nothing. So I can see that it's starting to come through. So what I'm going to do now, I can take another slither of wood and poke that through, so you can see it's going all the way through the piece of wood. Okay, so you've then got to decide which side is going to be the neatest. So there we go, you see the hole all the way through. Okay, so what I'm then going to do is take a piece of cord and poke it up through there. Okay, if the excuse is rather cold, my nose is running, so I'm just going to get this cordage up to speed. Try to come down at the end. Oh, you could just leave it as one single tag, or create a loop like so. So I think what we'll try and do is, because that cordage is quite thick, I think I'll leave it as a single strand for our handle. So which is the best side to go in from this side. So what you'll see is there's a slightly bigger hole on this side compared to this side, so we're going to make this side the outer part that you see. So I'm going to twist the cordage up through the centre and get it to come up through. You may have to open this up a little to get this through. So as I say, I'm doing this for quickness. Obviously you can be as neat as you want, tidy as you want, but for the sake of this video, I just want to don't want to spend too long on it. I'm just going to take my knife and give it a little bit, make it a little bit wider, the hole inside. And by twisting the cordage, there we go, you can see that it's just, oops, sorry about that, you can see that it's just popped through. So what I'm going to do is pull the cord up like so. Now To stop that coming all the way through, we're going to put a pin from the top next to the cord, which will anchor it in place. Okay, so that's the next thing I need to do, is take a piece of wood, and I've got some that I've cut earlier, and I'll take a piece off of that and use that. So then, as you can see, there's the bottom of my cord and there's the top. So I'm going to take this sliver that I've just created, pop it in the top, wedge it in there. You can see that's, oops, keep forgetting the camera's there. Push that right in, like so. You can actually see it coming out the bottom yet. So that makes our cord nice and strong. So just keep pushing until it bites. There we go. So what I'm going to do now is going to cut that clean. Okay, just be very careful when that you don't cut your cordage all the way through. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm shaving and then taking the excess off. There we go, it's just about there. Off again. So, as you can see, I've cut that. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to use another piece of wood to push that in as far as I can get it. You can hear that tightening up. So there we go. So, as I say, put the pin at the top, cut it clean on the other side. So we've got a handle. We can now safely pop the lid in, so it's a nice snug fit, so you're not going to lose any of the materials that you pop inside it. Okay, so I can see that we just pop, there we go, lid back on again. So we've got now a complete container. So for the cord, I've got a nice length of line bark there. So we'll start just to wrap it around the top. All the way around. And we'll try and make this as tight as we possibly can get it. Pulling it. It's amazingly how strong this bark is, even in its uncorded state. So, as you see, it's starting to taper off. So what I'm going to do is take it all the way around once more to the point where I started the cord, started the wrapping, sorry, when I first laid it in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this end and we're going to take, there, we're going to take a needle. This is a needles that you saw me doing using in another video, so we're not using any metal tool, we're using a bone needle, which if anybody's interested I'll show you how to make it another date. So I'm going to take that and thread it through the eye of the needle. Being careful as we go. There we go, passed over that bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the needle and pop it up underneath like so, so the needle comes out through the top. Pull our cordage up, pull the end out, and then pop it back up through again. So this is where a nice flat needle helps. Pull the end up through. So what I tend to do with mine, I mean this is turned out so I didn't have to do it, but I like to have it nice and neat. So you can see how that's created a tightening. There we go. So I'm going to pop this up through there again, and then just take our time here. There we go. But this time what I'm going to do is when I come up through, just pull my end up through like so. Take the needle back. I'm going to thread it through to create a finishing knot, just like you would when you were sewing. So I hope you can see that. We have to be a bit gentle with, you know, as I say, these are natural materials we're working with, so just take our time in doing this. There we go. So there's a couple of, you can see the needles still attached, a couple of raggy ends, but the front of the container's now got its nice wrapping. Okay, so I'm going to take the needle off here again, just being careful because, as I say, the bone needles themselves are, in archaeological digs, needles was found a lot, probably because they broke at the eye. So there's that one, trim neat. On there, so you can see, trim neat, there's the knot. So it just gives this extra security to the rim of the container, so you can see you can still pull the lid off and on. Like so, and then just to finish it off, I like to put one on the bottoms because it just hides your pins. Point, as I say, created the loop for the last knot, take our needle through and pull to complete it. There we go, and I'll just cut that off with a knife. And there you have it, one container made from umbilifer stock. So we now can carry needles, thread, cordage, fishing, replicate anything, just by using our knife and the material that Mother Nature provides. So I hope you found that enjoyable, and you can give it a go. It's not very difficult, just about taking your time. And what I'll do now is I'll just leave this to dry naturally, and there we go, I've got another container. So thanks very much for watching this video, and I hope to catch you for many more. And thank you to all who have subscribed of late, and I'll catch you for the next one. Okay, cheers, thanks, bye.